Hi teammate, my name is Ronnie Alfonso. I'm the product owner and mentor of BreazeHome 4.0 is Dr. Masoud Sajari. Here I'm showing the mingle story related with this video with the description and all the acceptance criteria. In this video I'm going to show how to activate in the mobile version a feature that was previously implemented in the desktop version. For this, I'm going to start from the idea that you already have some knowledge on Angular framework that would be useful for understand Ionic. To start the Ionic server, you just need to go inside the BreazeHome mobile folder and type Ionic serve, and this will display the application in the browser. To start, I'm going to make a brief introduction of both versions, starting from the desktop version, which is Angularjs implemented on JavaScript. The Angularjs Framework uses the model view controller pattern, and this pattern separates the internal representation of information from the ways the information is represented to and accepted from the user. In other words, there are three components in the pattern. The first one is the model, which is responsible for producing the data to be processed. In this case, they are called services. The service folder is located inside the app folder, inside the script folder. For this video, we will be working with the user and question services. The second one is the view. The view is in charge to show to the user the information. There are the templates and they are regular HTML files which are located inside the app folder, inside the views folder. For this video, we will be working with the landing HTML. Also, we can have a smaller version of templates, the models. The models are also regular HTML file that can be used in different templates to avoid code duplication. For example, if we need to show a confirmation or error message to the user, the best approach is to create a model for those message templates. So every time you need to show this message, we reuse them from any template without having them repeated all over the code. The models are located inside the views folder. The third and last component is the controller. The controller is the one that holds the logic of the code, and they are inside the controller folder. Now let's move to the mobile version, and you're gonna see how similar they are in structure. First of all, Ionic is on top of Angular also, but in this case, Angular is different from AngularJS, the one we use for the desktop version. Angular uses TypeScript instead of JavaScript, and TypeScript is a subset of JavaScript, so they are very similar. One of the main differences is that all the variables need to be declared with a specific type, otherwise you will have a compilation error. In the mobile version, the models are represented by the providers, and as I said before, in the desktop version they are the services. So the provider is inside the folder, and in the source folder, and in this video we'll be working in the user data provider. The views and its controller both are in the same folder inside the page folder. For this video, we will be working in the reset credential HTML and TypeScript file, which are represented the view and the controller respectively, and both are located inside the folder with the same name. The sequence of steps in the mobile version is roughly the same as those on the desktop. The user needs some information and click on a button or a link, then the controller modifies the data and that will be sent to the backend through the use of a provider. The backend will handle the request method, either post, get, or any other, and will return the data to the front end in a JSON format. Now, I'm going to talk about the pages or view, and I'm going to highlight that the flow of pages is different than the one that we use in the desktop version. In the desktop version, we need to transfer the focus to a specific page. We just need to redirect to that page. Here in Ionic, the page transition is handled by a stack. When a screen is shown in the mobile, it's because the page is on top of the stack. In other words, that page was either pushed in or another page was popped out from the stack. The first one, if the user clicks a link or a button, or in general any control that transfers the logic to a new screen, then in that case a new page is pushed to the stack. In the case that the user click back or cancel an operation that requires to return to the last page, then the pop operation is executed in the stack and behind the scenes. Another point of interest is that Ionic handles the screen using card, and this card contains rows and the rows contain items. How this could be useful? Well, this could be useful because in one page you might have at the same time multiple cards with their interiors component. I'm referring to rows, items, or any HTML tag, and show the proper one when the logic requires it. In the controller, we can show or hide this card, rows, or any item, taking advantage of the double binding that Angular offers. Double binding, in other words, is synchronization that is established between the controller and the view in both ways. If a variable is updated in the controller, then in the view is reflected and vice versa. So in this particular example, in the controller, I use several variables that works as a flag. And basically, the variables are toggled true or false in case we need to show or hide the element. Now I'm going to pass to the next step to show the code and explain the implementation. To start, I want to show the initial page in the mobile version. The initial page is landing, the same page as in the desktop version. But here, we need to navigate to another page in order to find the link that takes us to where we are looking for. This page is the login registration page, and down here is the link that we're looking for. Let's click on this link, and here is the resetting password page. So let's go real quick and show how this is executed behind the scenes. The first page was landing HTML, and the registering button takes us to the login page. So let's go to the login page and show what is done. The submit button of the login page calls the go to reset page method. Here in the go to reset page method, the reset credential page is pushed into the nav control variable, which is a stack that emulates the navigation between the pages. And that's the way the Ionic changes from one page to another one. What is a page? Good question. Here we can find it easily because we use similar names, but I'm going to show from where Angular gets this page. If you go to the app folder and click the file app modules TypeScript, we will see that reset credential page is located inside the reset credential folder. Here in this folder are the view and the controller. Angular will call the controller that will initialize the variable and then show the view. The view contains a card that has a header and a body. The variables reset password header and submit success will be true and false respectively, and thus the start we're going to show only the reset password header and the initial reset form. After the user clicks the button, it will go to the reset password method inside the controller that will make some validations, and once it finds out that the data entered is an email, it will go through this branch and call the reset password method inside the user data provided. Here in user data, it would make the post to the URL in the backend and will return if the user was found or not. In the backend, an email with a token is sent to the user account in case it is found. The provider returns an observable, and in cases a 200 is received, the method goToToken content is called. And here is one interesting point. The goToToken content activates some flags. For the next step in the front end, we have this new screen. How we get this screen? The magic occurred when we activated the flags in the goToken content method. Let's go back and see what was done. The submit success, if submit attempt, and reset password header are set to true, and the if security question is set to false. In the view, we can see that we are keeping visible this reset password header, and we hit the initial reset form because submit success was set to true, and thus then the next block is turned visible along with the first row and the form with the text box. For the next step, I need to read the email that was sent to my account to obtain the token needed for this screen. So I will do this real quick because this step are fairly the same as the next stage. That's basically the way Ionic changes the screen inside the same page, and that is a repetitive pattern throughout all the process. When I click on the button, a new screen is displayed again, and this time we have a question that came from the backend. Let's check how this is done. The confirm answer button is in the page, and it calls the submit code method. In the controller, the submit code method calls the confirm code provider, and in the provider there is a post to the API. And in case we have a 200, the question variable is initializing with the response. Then back in the controller, the question variable is initialized with the user data question variable, and here is where we get the question shown in the view. Let's go back to the view to confirm it. In fact, the question is here inside the row, conditioned by the if security question flag. And this flag must have been activated by calling the method go to security question content. Checking in the method, we found that effectively that flag was set. The next step is to answer the question, that basically sends that answer to the backend and confirm that the answer matches. And we made it to the last step. Here in the view, the method that was called when the button was pressed was answer the security question. And in this case, after getting a 200, we call go to password content. That will set all the variables to false except for the ones related to the password element in the view. And these ones are create password header and if create password. Back in the view, we can confirm that all the elements for the password string are inside the row that is activated with if create password, and in the header activated with create password header. As the last step, when the user clicks the submit password button, the create new password method is called, and after receiving the 200, all the variables are updated and the stack is updated with the landing page as a root. Let's click on the button, and as you can see, we are on the landing page. There is another thing I would like to show you, because I believe that the first time we work with Ionic, we won't be expecting this kind of behavior. I'm going to make a simple demonstration of what we are already familiar when working with Angularjs. I'm going to modify the text of the logout button, and the framework behind will update the page in the browser automatically. Now I'm going to do the same in the mobile version. You can see that the framework detected a change in the code and refreshed the page. But instead of showing the updated page, we have the same one. And the explanation here is simple. When we start the Ionic server, it runs a service worker in the background that enables the page to run even if we close the command line running the server. So every time we make changes in the code, we need to update that service worker. And that is done by opening the developer console, clicking in the application tab, selecting service workers, and checking the update on reload checkbox. This will force the service worker to reload the code every time the code is changing. Now let's try this out. And as you can see, this is working perfectly now. Well, I would like this video will be useful for all of you, and that's all.